Yeah, it won't work unless you've got these components here, and it won't work if this capacitance is too small. It won't work if this capacitance is too large, because the charge time will be huge, and you'll be partially discharging a capacitor. So you need to make sure that this and this and this are all matched. Otherwise, if the capacitance is too low, the voltage drop across the Thyratron will be too low and it will stay on. If the capacitance is too high, you'll draw too much current, or it'll take too long to charge, and you'll only be able to have a pulse rate of 10 or 100 times a second. So this is the stuff you need to calculate. It's very simple. If you can't calculate the inductance, just hook it up to the high voltage output and just short circuit it and see what your current draw is on this side. That'll give you a basic idea, and then you just need to assemble these components. You do need pulse rated capacitors that have partial discharge rating and can handle the amount of power you're putting through them. Otherwise they explode from overheating, which was nearly happened to one that I had. You can string a lot of smaller capacitors together. That's what I'm going to do here. I've got 6.3 kilovolt AC capacitors, and I'm going to string a whole lot together, so to give me about 24 kilovolt AC, and the same with the primary side. So yeah, it's actually pretty simple. I had a 100 UF 3 kilovolt capacitor that was charged to about 2000 volts accidentally go off when I removed with a chicken stick this diode. I was deaf for about a minute and my ears were ringing, and it was like an explosion, not a gunshot. So these kind of things can happen, and that capacitor is pretty much useless because it takes too long to charge. So you have to be very careful with any of the components in the system, because you're dealing with very high amperage over a very short amount of time. So that capacitor, when it went off, would have been a megawatt pulse. So just be careful, make sure everything's discharged, make sure you've got bleed resistors across these here, make sure you always use a chicken stick, always wear safety sunnies or safety glasses, etc, etc, because it's very dangerous stuff. But the point was that that blast deafened me for quite a while, and my ears hurt for the rest of the day. But I had it discharging through this Thyratron. I don't know if it was a full discharge. It may have been. It was probably pretty close. But what happened when it discharged through the Thyratron is all I could hear was a little ting ting noise. But when it discharged into the air, it was a full blast. So you can see that these sort of systems, compared to a rotary spark gap or a stationary spark gap, can be much quieter and handle huge amounts of power in a very small package. I mean, this thing can handle several kilowatt, when you've got a normal vacuum tube about the same size can only handle a couple of hundred.